The silence hung heavy, a shroud woven from 4 decades of unanswered questions and the quiet ache of absence. For 42 years, the name Karen Shepers had echoed in the hollow spaces of a family's heart, a constant reminder of a life abruptly stolen by the shadows. Now, the shadows had shifted, the silence broken by a single, shattering revelation. Karen Shepers had been found. But the discovery, while offering a measure of closure, only deepened the mystery, forcing us to confront the agonizing truth that sometimes the search for answers is a long and arduous journey. The story begins in the vibrant, tumultuous landscape of the late 1970s. Before the internet, before cell phones, before the relentless stream of information that defines our modern age. In this era, Karen Shepers, a young woman brimming with the promise of a future, vanished from the face of the earth. The details of her life remain sparse, lost to the fog of time. What is known as a loving family, hopeful dreams, and a life that seemed to be on the cusp of something extraordinary. Information about her occupation or where she lived is missing. The details of her disappearance were shrouded in mystery from day one, and the case quickly grew cold, a tragic anomaly in a time when missing person cases were often quickly resolved. Karen Shepers, a daughter, a sister, perhaps a burgeoning artist or a dedicated student, was a young woman on the cusp of adulthood in a world that felt both familiar and rapidly changing. The late 70s, a period of cultural shifts and evolving societal norms, was a backdrop against which her bright future was abruptly erased. Without specific details of her daily life, her favorite haunts, her close friends, her aspirations beyond the ordinary, her absence becomes an even more potent symbol of lives unlived and potential unrealized. Her family, a unit bound by love and shared memories, likely described her with fondness, recalling her laughter, her unique quirks, the dreams she confided in them. These personal touches, now precious and perhaps increasingly fragile with the passage of time, formed the core of what was lost, a void that no amount of searching could fill for so long. Imagine Karen walking through the bustling streets of her hometown, the air alive with the sounds of transistor radios playing rock and roll, the scent of exhaust fumes, and blooming honeysuckle mingling. Perhaps she worked at the local diner, its formica counters and clatter of dishes a familiar backdrop to her days. Or maybe she was lost in thought in the hushed aisles of the town library, a book her constant companion. The disappearance itself, from all accounts, was sudden and disorienting. There were no obvious signs of a struggle, no ransom notes, no clear indications of foul play that would immediately point investigators in a definitive direction. It was as if she had simply dissolved into the humid summer air or the crisp autumn breeze, leaving behind only a profound sense of bewilderment and dread. Investigators in the late 70s would have been hampered by limited forensic technology and a less interconnected information network. Initial searches likely focused on the immediate vicinity of her last known location, perhaps a quiet suburban street lined with aging oak trees or a sprawling, sun-dappled local park that Karen frequented, the scent of cut grass and distant traffic providing a stark contrast to the growing unease. Teams would have meticulously canvassed the area, knocking on doors, their polite but persistent questions echoing in the afternoon heat, documenting every sighting, every whispered rumor. They would have mapped out potential routes, checked abandoned buildings, and interviewed anyone who might have crossed her path in those crucial hours. However, without the digital footprints and sophisticated tracking methods available today, the leads inevitably grew cold, the initial urgency slowly giving way to a gnawing sense of futility. The case quickly landed on the dusty shelves of forgotten files, a cold file gathering dust in a forgotten corner of the precinct, its stark white paper no match for the vibrant life it represented. Over the years, the family of Karen Shepers kept her memory alive, refusing to let the world forget her. They clung to the faint hope that one day, they would finally know what had happened to her. They may have organized searches, distributing flyers with her smiling face, the grainy black and white image a poignant plea for any information, however small, that could shed light on her whereabouts. These flyers, once a ubiquitous presence in local businesses and community bulletin boards, their edges softened by time and weather, would have become faded relics, their urgency tinged with the melancholy of years passing. The family likely maintained contact with law enforcement, a familiar refrain of unanswered questions and dead ends. Each anniversary of her disappearance would have been a somber occasion, a painful reminder of another year that had passed without their beloved Karen. The emotional toll on a family facing such prolonged uncertainty is immeasurable. It's a constant ache, a phantom limb of grief that never truly heals. They may have grappled with guilt, wondering if they could have done something differently, if they missed some crucial sign. They lived with the gnawing fear that she might have suffered, that her final moments were filled with terror. This enduring pain, this unresolved chapter, shadowed their lives, impacting their relationships, their joys, and their very sense of peace. The implications of this discovery are profound. For Karen's family and friends, it marks a moment of mixed emotions. There is, undoubtedly, a sense of relief, a feeling that the long nightmare of uncertainty is finally over. But this is tempered by the crushing weight of grief, the realization that the loved one they had hoped to find alive is, in fact, gone forever. This will lead to more questions as the family, now decades older, begins to grapple with the finality of the situation. The discovery also presents an opportunity for closure. While the details of her disappearance remain unclear, knowing where Karen Shepers rests will allow them to find a sense of peace and begin the healing process. They can hold a memorial, visit her resting place, and finally say goodbye. The physical location of her discovery, wherever it may be, becomes a focal point for remembrance. It is a place where the tangible reality of her absence is no longer a question mark, but a poignant certainty. This newfound knowledge, while devastating in its confirmation of loss, also offers a tangible point of connection to the past, a place to lay flowers, to share stories, and to finally mourn her in a way that was impossible for so long. The older generations of her family, who may have carried the burden of her disappearance for their entire adult lives, can now begin the complex process of acceptance. Younger generations, who perhaps only knew Karen through faded photographs and whispered family stories, now have a more concrete understanding of a beloved relative's tragic fate. The Karen Shepers case is a reminder of the enduring power of hope and the relentless pursuit of justice. It shows the impact of long-term missing persons cases on families, communities, and the tireless dedication of those who never give up searching for answers. Karen's story illustrates the human cost of unsolved mysteries and the significance of bringing closure to those who have been waiting for answers. The passage of 42 years signifies not only the passage of time, but also the resilience of the human spirit in the face of profound loss. It speaks volumes about the commitment of individuals, both within Karen's family and potentially among law enforcement and community members, who refuse to let her story fade into obscurity. Their persistence, their refusal to accept the void, is what ultimately led to this moment of revelation. This case serves as a stark illustration of how unsolved disappearances leave indelible scars, not just on the immediate family, but on the wider community. It creates a sense of unease, a lingering question mark that affects the perception of safety and security. The eventual discovery, while tragic, offers a chance to begin to mend those collective wounds. The discovery of Karen Shepers after so many years is a powerful testament to the enduring human spirit. The family never gave up hope, even when the odds seemed insurmountable. Their perseverance, along with the efforts of law enforcement, has finally brought a measure of resolution to this tragic case. This resolution, though steeped in sadness, is a victory in its own right. It is a victory for memory over oblivion, for truth over silence, and for love over the corrosive effects of time and unanswered questions. The narrative of Karen Shepers, once a story of an enduring mystery, is now transitioning into a story of remembrance and, hopefully, of healing. The world may have forgotten her name for a time, but her family never did, and their unwavering devotion has finally brought her home, albeit in the most heartbreaking of circumstances. The hope for an alive Karen may have been extinguished, but the hope for answers, for peace, has finally begun to flicker.